Saturn's rings may be the remains of a destroyed moon, ripped apart by gravity so violently that it turned into billions of pieces of ice orbiting the planet forever. And according to recent research, those iconic rings might disappear one day. The most beautiful object in the solar system could actually be the aftermath of a cosmic catastrophe. For centuries, humans stared at Saturn in confusion. In 1610, Galileo Galilei first observed the planet through a telescope, but he could not understand what he was seeing. Saturn appeared to have strange handles attached to its sides. When the rings later tilted out of view, Galileo thought the mysterious structures had vanished completely. It took decades before astronomers realized Saturn was surrounded by enormous rings, unlike anything else known in the solar system. Today, scientists know those rings are made mostly of water ice, mixed with smaller amounts of rock and dust. Some particles are tiny, like grains of sand, while others are as large as mountains. But the real mystery is how they formed. For a long time, researchers debated whether Saturn's rings were ancient, forming alongside the planet over 4 billion years ago, or whether they were surprisingly young. Recent data from NASA's Cassini spacecraft changed the debate dramatically. Scientists now estimate Saturn's rings may be only about 100 to 400 million years old. That sounds ancient to humans, but in cosmic terms, it means the rings could have formed during the age of dinosaurs on Earth. That discovery shocked astronomers. If Saturn formed 4.5 billion years ago, why would its rings appear so much younger? One leading theory suggests a moon wandered too close to Saturn and crossed something called the Roche limit. The Roche limit is the distance where a planet's gravity becomes stronger than the gravity holding a moon together. Once an object crosses that boundary, tidal forces can tear it apart piece by piece. That means Saturn may have literally shredded one of its own moons. The debris spread into orbit and eventually flattened into the rings we see today. And Saturn's gravity turned that destruction into something beautiful.
The rings themselves are enormous. If stretched across Earth, they would extend far beyond the distance between Earth and the Moon. Yet, despite their massive width, many sections are astonishingly thin, often only about 10 meters thick in some areas. Imagine a structure wider than hundreds of thousands of kilometers, but thinner than a small building. Scientists discovered the rings are divided into major sections, called the A, B, and C rings, separated by dark gaps. One of the most famous is the Cassini division, a large gap caused partly by gravitational interactions with Saturn's moons. And those moons constantly shape the rings. Small shepherd moons orbit near ring edges, using gravity to keep particles in place. Without these moons, the rings would spread out and lose their structure over time. In many ways, Saturn's rings behave like a giant cosmic dance, controlled entirely by gravity. But the deeper scientists studied the rings, the stranger they became. Cassini detected massive storms and wave patterns moving through the rings like ripples in water. Some were caused by tiny moonlets hidden inside the rings themselves. Others may have been triggered by vibrations deep inside Saturn. That means the rings are not static objects. They are alive with motion. Then came another disturbing discovery. Saturn is slowly losing its rings. NASA scientists found that ring material is constantly being pulled into the planet by gravity in a phenomenon called ring rain. Tiny icy particles become electrically charged and spiral down into Saturn's atmosphere. According to current estimates, Saturn could lose its rings in roughly 100 million years.
In other words, humanity may exist during a very rare period in Saturn's history, a time when its rings are bright, massive, and clearly visible. Future civilizations, millions of years from now, may see a completely different Saturn. And the destruction may not stop there.
Some scientists suspect Saturn's moons continue colliding with meteoroids and debris, constantly adding dust into the ring system. Others believe hidden collisions in the past may have reshaped the rings multiple times. Even now, researchers still argue about exactly which moon was destroyed, how the breakup happened, and whether more than one object was involved. The mystery is still unfolding. What makes Saturn terrifying is that its beauty comes from violence. A moon may have been ripped apart by gravity. Billions of fragments became trapped forever in orbit. And now, slowly, those same rings are falling back into the giant planet that created them. The solar system hides destruction behind beauty more often than humans realize. And somewhere else in the universe right now, another planet may already be tearing apart one of its own moons and creating rings of its own. Follow for more mysteries hidden in space. If Saturn's rings are temporary, what other famous things in the universe might only exist for a brief moment before disappearing forever?